Hello everybody, this is SMK here, and I'm going to start this new series of videos today that will talk about how Dimps will refine Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and we will look at specific systems or parts of the game that they could improve with this sequel, or that they will improve. In this case, today we're going to talk about transformations, but before I get into that, I must stress that I do not actually know what Dimps is going to be doing, what the actual changes are, and so on. I'm just using logic and what I consider to be common sense in terms of how they will change and address and refine these systems or mechanics, what have you. So, as far as transformations goes, in Xenoverse 1, the transformation system was very, I would say, pretty bad. For starters, you only had 4 Super Saiyan transformations. You had Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, and then Super Vegeta 1 and Super Vegeta 2. The difference between those forms was just that one set was focused on melee damage increase, the other set was focused on super and ultimate damage increase. In addition to this, you had Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times 10, and times 20. Then you had Unlocked Potential, which was released much later on in DLC Pack 3. These transformations were exclusively supposed to exist just for the other races. I mean, everybody can use them. Every race can use them, and they're only there just because the other races did not have their own unique transformations. On top of this, Super Saiyans had not only the benefit of those specific stats increased for their transformations, but they also were allowed to spam supers and ultimates. What does that mean? Basically, they were able to use a super or ultimate without their ki bar depleting. In addition to this, they are able to bypass the 3 bars of ki restriction, or requirement for to perform or activate an ultimate. What does that mean? That basically means that if you had 1 bar of ki while you're in a transformation, like while you're in Super Saiyan, you can still do an ultimate that would normally require you to have 3 bars of ki. So that just contributed to the problem of spamming with Super Saiyan transformations. Now, what I said earlier about stats, that doesn't necessarily mean that the other transformations didn't have any stat increases. No. In fact, Kaioken times 20 had the most significant stat increase in melee damage of about 15%, I believe. You can probably find this information, more exact numbers somewhere on the Steam forums for this game, for Xenoverse 1. I remember reading something like that from there a while ago. I don't have these numbers in front of me. And like Super Saiyan 1 was like a 5% increase in melee damage or something like that. So it's very, 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 very small. So as for what... before that, I have to say the other thing about Xenoverse 1 system was that you can only equip 1 transformation per character. So this also applied to regular characters too, like Frieza and Cell. They could not have any transformations because the devs felt like, okay, if we gave them this transformation, then they only have that 1 transformation, and it's not the same effect as if they're going through each form one by one as in the original series. So they just gave them the final and 100% and perfect forms as their own character slots. So with that said, what is the solution? What will they actually refine about this transformation system in Xenoverse 2? Well, if we look at how things went from Budokai 1 to Budokai 2, we can assume that they will try to make the transformation system at least marginally better. And what do I mean by marginally? Well, I believe by default they will at least get rid of the Super Saiyan spam. They won't be able to spam supers and ultimates. Whether or not they will still be able to bypass the 3 key bar requirement to activate an ultimate, I don't know. I hope they get rid of that benefit as well, because it's not necessary. It's completely stupid. It makes it harder to, punish a Super Saiyan when they, launch an ultimate and then they can do another one. It makes it hard to be close to a Super Saiyan, because if they do an ultimate and they had 1 bar of ki, and they have 1 bar of ki, they can still do it. That's really stupid. So hopefully that would be, with those 2 things removed, they could then in turn model their transformation stat increases after Budokai 3. And what I mean by that is, well, in Budokai 3, each transformation was at least about a 10% increase in your attack stat, or rather what Xenoverse would define as your melee damage. Whereas in Budokai 3, it was your attack was also your melee damage and your attacks from like supers and ultimates. So Xenoverse 1, it's going to be... I mean, Xenoverse 2, it'll be interesting to see if they continue to separate melee damage and ki damage from each other. But yes, each transformation should increase it by about 10%. Now, if whether or not they keep the one transformation per character in the game, it doesn't really matter, because if that happens, then they could just designate it such that if you equip Super Saiyan 2, you transform into Super Saiyan 2, you get a 20% increase in your damage, melee, your melee damage or ki damage, whatever. You'll get that 20% increase. And the reason why this really wouldn't be much of a problem is because Saiyans are glass cannons by default. They have low health. They should be doing a lot of damage because they have such low health and defense. So I don't think it'd be that much of a problem. Now, another part of the system that they need to refine is multiple transformations. They need to address this because everybody absolutely wants Cell and Frieza to have their, all their transformations, and they don't want them to just be their own character slot. So how do they address that? Well, I have two solutions in my mind right now that they could possibly do. One such solution would be to just allow any of the original cast characters to transform into whatever transformations they have. It's not an equip for them. It's just by default they have that form. So Goku should be able to transform into Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4, whatever. He shouldn't have any of those forms separated into any other character slot unless they have unique moves or unique melee combo strings, though those could even be loaded with a transformation if they know what they're doing with the RAM. So that would allow for Frieza and Cell to have all their forms without affecting their ultimates or move list, their skills list. The other solution is to make it costume-based, where they use that costume-based slot system, and so the default costume slot, the first thing would just be the regular first form, skills, and no transformations. Then the second costume slot would be, let's say Frieza Form 1 with Form 2 transformation. And then the next costume slot, Frieza Form 1 with Form 2 and Form 3, so on and so forth. So those are two possible solutions they could go with. I would be interested to see what they might actually do. I'm hoping it won't be, relegating those transformations to their own slots. So that's that. That's that one. But the other thing in related transformations is, what about other races? What should they get? Well, humans obviously are going to have potential unlocked potential unleashed, whatever. They're honestly probably going to have that again, and that probably won't be exclusive to humans. It'll probably be for anyone. And the other races, like the Frieza race and the Namekians and what's the other one? The other one was Manjins. Those, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think I almost have to go into those in a completely separate video. But by and large, what I expect them to do, as far as refining the transformation system goes, is that they will remove spam and make the stat increases much more significant. And then maybe, hopefully, they will also make it so you can punish Super Saiyans. You have a much bigger window to punish the Super Saiyans when their transformation is gone. Because the losing all stamina thing wasn't that great, I don't think, of a punishment. So with that said, I hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and hopefully maybe we'll see what Dimps will do with transformations soon. Maybe at E3 they will talk about what they've done to the transformation system. I hope we will see that. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for, seeing what they will demo at E3. So, yeah. See you later.